We're hammering this out for future stuff.
How is everyone doing?
Are we absolutely certain this is on?
Yeah, and also what's great, my favorite part about this whole thing that's happening right now is that it's being recorded and we're gonna get to see it. Everyone's gonna get to see this live in like 5 years time when they want to learn more about the project. So this will be a really integral part of the whole experience. Thank you, Elizabeth Gassy, for hearing us, and Anna for also hearing us. So we're doing this.
Elaine
Hello,
says
everyone.
she can't hear us, so that's confusing.
Oh. Interesting. Apparently some people can't hear us.
Well, it's mixed bag. We're figuring it out.
Okay, I get it. I think what's happening is that there's a lag, so maybe Elaine couldn't hear us, but now people can. Either way, some people can hear us, so I think we're going to start. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to Botanica, the tarot project.
Intro.
Yes, if you have
only the intro.
If this is your first taste of this project, weird start. Apologies for that.
It's new.
Hopefully we can figure out a way to cut the first dead 15 minutes of airtime, but I make no promises.
Because I think that's doable.
Yeah, it's doable. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yes, so this is the creator of the Botanica Tarot deck, Kevin J. Stanton, who is a dear friend and an incredible artist. We're going to chat a little. We're not going to chat so much about the project today because we're saving that for the next chat, which will really be like an in-depth.
And we're going to have it like down pat.
Yes, by then. Yeah, we will be on
process,
time. It's going to seem like we've been doing this for years, which clearly we all have.
Definitely. But no, we're going to talk about sort of intro to tarot in general. I'll sort of talk about like my own personal philosophy when reading cards, and so if there are any questions about the deck specifically, we'll cover that in future videos. But but if you have any other questions about Kevin's reading process or tarot in general, please drop your questions in the chat. I will be keeping an eye on all of that. And I will not.
And Kevin will absolutely not, but I will be his YouTube interpreter. So let's dive in.
Yes.
I'm going to start. Kevin, I am someone who has never heard of tarot before.
Okay. She's speaking.
Yes.
This is a character now.
This is my first deck ever, which actually it is, I will say. This is actually my first tarot deck. And I got to learn so much about tarot through this project, which was really cool. But yes, as a novice tarot reader, which I think many of our backers are, tell us a little bit about where all this comes from and why tarot and what's kind of your interpretation.
I mean, tarot's been used for a very long time. It was originally like a playing card game that took on additional meaning among, honestly, the royalty. You know, like it was a way to pass time, and then it became something more. For me, I use it as sort of like a meditative tool. There's some theory that you shouldn't read your own cards, but I like to read my own and just kind of see what feelings are triggered when I do that. So but it's I guess like real basic. It's 78 cards split into 2 parts, major and minor arcana. And then there are 4 suits of the minor arcana as well.
And so each suit represents a different...
Like a loose framework of ideas. So, do you want to talk like more about that specifically, like the minors?
I guess we'll probably get into that. Well, yeah, I think for people who have never heard of tarot, it would be helpful to be like...
So the majors are usually like very broad concepts. They represent they're like more cards of power, less about like commonplace ideas, whereas the minors can be they always feel like more specific. It's like you are carrying a burden versus like a broader concept like travel and change or the start of a new journey.
And usually it means something a little bit different when the major arcana cards come up in a reading rather
Yeah,
than minor arcana.
there's thinking that you know, if you have a lot of majors in a reading, they're like more powerful forces at work. But I always think they're interesting because they represent like 22 very different ideas, whereas the minors get into a lot more like nitty gritty of kind of everyday life. It's a lot about like relationships. Coins are very much about money specifically, or the start of like a business venture and that kind of thing. So
And
yeah.
there's also within the minors, they're all numbered
Yes.
like
Oh yeah.
a regular card deck. So
Yeah. So
one
it's 14 cards.
Yeah.
So it's like a regular deck plus the pages. The ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then page, knight, queen, and king, which are the court cards. And the aces represent like the pinnacle of the suits.
But so one of the
symbol.
things that I found confusing when I first got into tarot is I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that there's not like a hierarchy between 1 to 10, right? It's not like the cards get more powerful.
Not more powerful, but there is something of a hierarchy.
Okay.
If you use numerology, there's something, you know, it'll be like 3s can mean something, you know, 4s can be more complete. I think for my own purposes, it's more about the 10s in particular. Usually they can mean like a negative thing, or the I would say that I feel like the 10s as the completion of the numbered sets can be either like a warning, or it can be a summation of the negative aspects in a lot of ways. For example, the 10 of swords, the sword suit can be about like truth and honesty, and whereas the 10 represents basically like the end of something, like it's the visceral end of it's a bad card to generally draw. But whereas like the 10 of wands represents like a massive burden that you're carrying, and then the 10 of swords is that burden has ended something, like you've fallen. In the Waite-Smith deck, it's a person who has been like cut by all 10.
Okay.
it's a dark card.
So I guess that's kind of another segue question is like, are there bad cards in a tarot deck?
The quote unquote bad cards, yeah, they exist. I think it depends on like where you get them in a reading. I would say that they are the 9 and 10 of swords. The 10 of wands is not necessarily a great one, and then the tower. Most people worry about the like death card, but to me, it's not. That's never really a bad card to draw, because it usually just means like something has come to an end and something is moving into its place. Especially in Botanica, it's sort of a gentle card.
But we'll get more into those.
Oh, but well, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
in the next time. That was a little teaser.
Oh yeah,
for
no,
you
yeah.
There.
I'm
you
too
almost got
excited to
us.
talk about that.
And by you, I mean me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. Oops, sorry. I have a tiny dog here who is occasionally eating my introduction to
just
the
the
deck booklet.
The book. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a really lovely introduction. So I guess the first question is, when you first have a new deck, like how do you open it? I don't know. I know that there's a lot of ceremony for some people around that.
I learned because I've been using tarot since I was like 17. There was a magic shop in my town, and I talked to one of the tarot readers. They told me the first thing that you want to do is open a deck. You want to flip through all of the cards and like familiarize yourself with the images. You may want to use a journal, and without like looking at the meaning, pick out cards that like jump out to you, and that can be because of imagery. They can be just a feeling you have, and then like look those cards up later and think about like why they struck a chord with you. That's for me kind of the magic of tarot, is what do those like feelings triggered when you see them? What does that like say? What does that represent? So yeah, I think it's just a matter of like going through the cards. With Botanica, because there are no written words, it's a matter of maybe familiarizing yourself with some of the symbols, even though they're all written out in the book as well. But
yes, if you are looking for, I guess we'll show you with a specific
we
card when we'll get there in a second. But
yeah.
this is the booklet that comes with every edition of Botanica, and included is a little introduction similar to what we're talking about now, and then a page by page, breakdown of each card, including all their little symbols, which are on the black here, so they can be easily found.
Yeah, I would say that's sort of the introduction. We can open a new deck with Botanica, and do you want to start that?
Sure,
yeah,
we can.
okay.
Yeah. Why don't we shuffle over?
Oh my god. So you want me to grab this?
Yeah, here.
Okay.
I will do this. Ah! Sorry, our plugs.
Unplug it?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's good.
Okay.
Cutting our losses here. All right, how does this look?
Sitting. Okay. Yeah.
Does that look
Like a
good?
little up. Yeah. Right?
Yes, perfect. I will now be the voice off screen.
Yes.
I will look behind you. Oh wait, no, now I'm off screen. The voice off screen.
This is still making a sound.
Oh, yes. Sorry, wait. I will do this. That way everyone
okay. Yeah.
will pin this. So now everyone should be able to see your hands, but hopefully they can still see you in tiny.
That is trippy.
Is that weird?
Okay. I'm not going to look at my own hands.
No, don't look at this.
I can't look at my own hands. Okay, yes. So if we were familiarizing ourselves with a brand new deck, yeah, oh boy. So you're going to, why am I, yeah, there we go. Oh.
You're good.
Okay. So Botanica has a bunch of Kickstarter stretch rewards that we did. For our purposes, we're going to take the patch and the bookmark, stickers, and book plate out. Put those aside. And take the acknowledgements and put those aside. Okay. All right. And there should also be 6 postcards that you can also put aside.
Just throw it out.
No, you can like hang them or send them to people. You do you. Okay, so yeah, we've got a deck and our booklet. Where do you want to start?
So why
like
don't
actually
you flip through some of the cards and maybe show the difference between the majors and the minors a little bit?
So in Botanica, the majors are just plants. They were the first cards that I did. You can see that they're usually just the plants, pretty bold. And then I'll put these here. And then the minors all have objects in them. So the Ace of Cups has 1 goblet, 2 of Cups has 2 water containers, 3 of Cups, etc. Do you want me to walk through the whole?
No.
No, okay. I don't know. But yeah, you can see like the difference Swords has.
So I'll point
various-
out some of the
Yeah.
symbols just so we
Oh, yes, yes,
so
yes.
people who aren't so familiar with it. So for example, this is the symbol for the lovers. As you can see, all the symbols are in white at the top of the card. And this is the ace of cups. So the minors are easy, really easy to figure out the symbols for. That's the queen of cups. And then if we go further down, that'll be the king of swords. And I'm only picking the court cards for some reason. Here we go. The 6 of wands. And then at the bottom, we'll get some coins. There we go.
There's a 4 of coins.
4 of coins. And so if you pick up your little guidebook, you can now look through all the minors, all the majors are at the beginning in the first section. And you can look through and find, here we go, the lovers there. And then you can read all the information about it, including if you drew it the right side up, we'll say just divinatory. And then if you drew the card upside down, then you can read the reverse meaning. And similarly, further in are all the minors. So there would be the 7 of cups. So if we were looking for that 4 of coins, we'd flip to the coin section, which is in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at our little Roman numerals.
One more page.
Oh, yes, I'm reading them upside down. There's the 4 of coins. So yeah, that's just how to read those symbols.
This is probably as good a time to say, if you are reading the reverse, is this a good time to talk about it? Yeah. I personally believe that you don't have to read the reverse if you don't want to. The way I wrote the booklet for Botanica is it's very, maybe the reverse gives you.
Wait, I'm going to pin it because apparently we can't see this camera on the live stream.
Oh, at all?
No. This is very strange.
Is it because there's unmute, share screen? Wait, it says start video.
It says share video.
It says start video.
Yes, start video.
Oh no, it says stop video. No, that should be working then.
That's very strange. Can people see anyone else not seeing the cards? Oh, sorry, folks. That's really frustrating. Also, there's a 5-minute lag, so apologies if you've been frustrated for 5 minutes with this. Can people see it now? Okay, I think people can maybe see it now. Oh boy.
Is there a way to know? Or because
I think it's going to take 5 minutes. So we'll have a little sit and chat.
Okay, well, as long as people can hear us, I guess.
Or you can, oh, geez, sorry, folks. There's a really long delay.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Let's give it a couple minutes and see if the camera switches over.
Okay.
But do you want to talk a little bit about significators?
So is this what people are seeing?
I'm
Is
not
me?
sure what people are seeing right now. So maybe
okay.
if you hold up any cards, show them both here and then here, Oh boy.
It's so weird because this is that.
Not for me, not yet. Okay.
Okay.
This is really strange.
Okay. Well, then it'll catch up.
I hope it will. All right. Well, we'll see.
So I've been enjoying
You're enjoying the commentary.
Well,
Yes.
that is very
We'll
kind.
keep the bits running.
The commentary is all happening.
We'll perform vaguely to this area. You can see something.
Well, I'm guessing. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. I love that you're doing amazing, sweetie.
That's very sweet. Okay. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about significators. Yeah.
Okay. Let me.
So what is a significator for those like me who know nothing? I feel like you know what I am. I'm the goofy character from those how-to goofy movies.
Totally.
Do you remember those?
No.
You don't?
No.
Oh.
They were goofy.
Yeah, there was these. That was like some of my favorite Disney shorts were all the goofy shorts where.
Oh, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Build a TV. It's like this Montero, and it's like shuffle your cards, and I'm like.
Okay, no, I do know what you're talking about. That is a great question. Thank you so much, Mael.
Yes, you're welcome.
So significators are the cards that you would choose to represent you in a reading. So they're not in the reading itself.
Okay, the live camera is working now, so maybe I'll do. I'm going to interrupt you and show you real quick.
Okay.
Again, these are the little symbols at the top for those who missed it. So that's the page
of
smart, coins, and I'm doing some random ones here. That's look at that! I picked the same one, the 4 of coins, and then the majors. You want to show a major? Do we have one?
Oh yeah.
So that's the Fool. And so the little symbol is up there, and you can find that in your little pamphlet that comes with every edition of Botanica. So as I said, the Fool happens to be the first card, so that's here. So the major arcana is first, and you can find all the little symbols there. And then if you're looking for the 4 of coins, I just happen to know the coins are in the back, but you will learn very quickly. And there's the 4 of coins. So hopefully that clarifies that.
Okay. So this is what we're seeing. Okay.
Yes.
All right. We're good. This is me. This is me expressing that we are good. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, I've gone through. Typically, for a significator, you would pick one of the court cards, which are the page, knight, queen, or king in each suit. So, for me personally, I've read. I think Eden Gray talks about in her book, basically you would pick a card that represents your physical description, and that goes with each suit has a different group of physical descriptors. I don't love that quite as much. I think it leaves a lot of people out. I won't say more than that. But you could pick, you'd read coins, read one of the descriptions. Generally, if you're on the younger side, you might pick a page or a knight. If you're on the older side, you could pick a queen or a king. But also, if you're, I don't know, if you have like control over your life, you might you might pick one of those. I personally do not have control over my life, which is clearly evident by playing fast and loose. So I
No,
use.
this is all my fun.
This is not all your fault.
I am dashing in front of this bus for you.
It is not your fault. No, it is
fault.
Absolutely not. Because I came to this. Anyway, we won't talk about it.
We're having fun.
I'm having a blast. But I use. So wait, should I show it to both cameras?
No, just that one. The phone camera works now.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you see is.
Well, someone said they see both cameras.
Oh, we see both cameras. Okay, cool.
I think because you did the gallery view. Okay.
Oh, because I did gallery view. All right, whatever. It's working.
Okay, so I'm gonna play to both cameras, even though I can only see one of them.
Oh wait, I can turn that back on for you. Keep going.
Okay, so I use the Knight of Cups personally. It's a person who is a bit of a dreamer. It's somebody who, is like creative, has ambitions, but someone who's not like entirely put together like the knight or the queen would be. If you were somebody in your friend group who everyone turns to get like an honest opinion, you might pick the Knight of Swords, who represents somebody who is sort of a knight of truth. If you're somebody who's particularly good with money, for example, you might pick one of the coin cards. Generally, coins represent like money and business. And yeah, so that I think it's more important for you to read through the book, see what works for you specifically. If one of those cards speaks to you when you're reading the descriptions. Yeah, that's kind of what I recommend to people more than me as the reader, like picking for somebody.
So we're not going to do a shuffling thing because we've already actually done a
Oh,
shuffling
yeah.
video. So
that's good because
we don't need to do that. So yes, for anyone who is looking to know how to shuffle the deck, we have a little separate video on that on our YouTube channel. Hopefully you can hear me. Just realized I'm fairly far away, but yes.
There's a shuffling channel on
there's a
YouTube.
Separate shuffling video on YouTube. Yeah. So take a look there. But I guess
yes.
Maybe we can just hop into like how you would do a reading either for yourself or for somebody else.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's a great idea. I just practiced this actually. So what I would do.
Do you want to take a new deck that's the deck that's already been shuffled, by the way?
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah,
that would be perfect.
Actually, what a perfect opportunity to do some lovely
for a quick ad break
style. Let me pull this out right here from right behind you, Kevin. Now, what we have here, for those uninitiated, this is actually, that was dangerous. This is our Enchanter Edition, which is our kind of higher end limited edition. We still have, I think, a couple of these left, but the most amazing thing about this isn't really, to me, it's not the case that comes with it. It's the art that comes with it, because you actually get an original
painting
piece of art,
special commission.
Heaven, but it comes in these kinds of.
Well, it'll be in a slightly different terrarium.
I'm gonna stage it real professionally behind you here. Look at that backlit and everything.
I mean, it is a really nice edition. But yes. Okay, nice. This is all nice and shuffled. So let's pretend you've already shuffled. I have very small hands, so I'm not going to show you how bad it looks when I shuffle. But yes, so let's say you've shuffled a few times. Generally, you would, we should start with this. What kind of questions you would ask? Because before you're shuffling, you would ask either yourself or the person that you're reading for what kind of question they want to know, whether that's for me, I tend to ask very general questions like recently I asked, like, am I on the right path? Like, am I in terms of like work and relationships? You can keep that kind of open. I'm realizing now this is mostly for a 10 card spread. Should we talk about spreads first?
Yeah, but I still think all those questions are valid for.
Yeah, I think you're right. That might be actually a better point. Depending on what kind of question you're asking, you may want to do different spreads.
I think one of the things that you have made very clear to me in discussions in the past, though, is that you never ask like a yes or no question. Right?
Yeah, I think there are spreads that you could do like a yes or no question. But for me, because I think of it more as a meditation tool, I kind of want the full spread to like speak to me, like how do I usually use a 10 card spread? How do like the 10 cards like talk to each other? Like what story is told between them? So so I'm going to demonstrate a 10 card spread, but we can also, do you want me to do like Celtic Cross?
Trio? So why don't should we start with something? Let's see how we have it in here. Yeah, let's start with the 10 card spread, which I think is maybe, other than like the daily meditation spread, which is really
which like you would just like pick a card, and for those, I mean, that's kind of a good point. So that would be like you're asking like what your day is going to be like, and in that way you would just be picking one card and sort of meditating on what that might mean for the coming day. But let's do.
I also like to think of it as like advice sometimes, like,
Yeah.
oh, I really need to be patient today, or like,
Yeah, like there might be a hurdle
yeah,
that you have to sort of like breathe through.
yeah.
I don't know why I just put stuff around when I'm
That's
going to
okay.
need
I
to.
love it. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, I know, but I need the
It's in the
space.
movie.
Okay. All right. All right. We're doing this. This is the altar cloth. We are going to. I'm thinking of maybe not reading on it so the cards show
Sure.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's better. So this comes also with the higher end version.
Yeah, this comes with all of the tins, but I think it'll be a little easier for video purpose to. Here, I'll wear it.
Yes.
Where the heck am I doing that?
Fashion.
Yes, it's all happening.
I really like how you wear it.
Thanks.
It's very cool.
I like wearing it. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Let's, like cleanse. Okay. So for a 10 card spread, you would be picking your significant. Oh my God. It's like right at the top.
Meant to be.
I would pick my significator. I guess actually I could do a reading for myself. I hope that's not embarrassing.
No.
Well, when I did an intro reading for the deck, like, oh, how am I going to interact with this deck? It told me that my only weakness and limitation was myself.
Wow.
And I was like,
wow.
Oh.
Well, it's up to you, Kevin. If it's too personal,
yeah.
either do a reading for one of my dogs.
No, let's not do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Or we could do a reading for a pretend celebrity.
I'm gonna do a reading for myself.
I'm giving you real cool.
Maya's giving me an
options.
out, and I've decided to bear it all.
To commit. All right, I love it.
To bear it all. This is not going to be a real reading. I'm telling this to myself. So you would do one card right on top of the significator, because again, the significator is not in the reading, it is influencing the reading. That's the idea of it. So the Two of Swords covers the significator. Then you would put another card crossed over the first card. And then third card, fourth card, move these down slightly. Fifth card, sixth card. All right, so we'll take a quick pause. So let's go through, well, I'll do all seven. Okay, so then 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you know what? The Hermit being the 10th card is, it's rude. Rude but fair. So if you look at your guide, which I will show you, we're going to be doing a 10 card spread like this one. So I'm going to follow as though I'm sort of reading this for the first time. But you'll see significator underneath. The first card is present position. So this is sort of like the atmosphere for the question itself, like what it could be the state that you're in asking it. It could be what are you experiencing that's causing you to ask this question, those kinds of things. The second one is immediate influences. I tend to read this card divinatory reading and reverse. In my mind, the influences that are on all of us are both positive and negative. And so I usually try and like see kind of like if there's an opposing balance in there. The third card, which is this is the Nine of Wands. The third card is the Queen of Swords. This is in reverse, technically. This is goal or destiny. Destiny is how I have written it. This is sort of like, what is your, it could potentially be like what you're hoping out of this situation. It could be the result of that situation in some ways. I usually describe it as goal or destiny because the idea is like it may be what comes to pass or it may be what you hope comes to pass. And there's usually a difference between those. The fourth card is, wait, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I can count. The fourth card is distant past. This can be, this is the Three of Cups. This is a card that is, like, what is the foundation of this question? If I were asking, something like, how is my career shaping up, or like what does the future look like for the work that I'm making? This could be, what work have I done that may result in something in the future? This could be, if you're asking about your like relationships in general, this could be breakups you've had in the past. It could be something that happened in your childhood that represented that. The fifth card is recent past. These are events that have happened more recently that may be causing you to ask the question. This is the King of Wands. And then the sixth card is the future. It's sort of like, usually these are like events, these three. So this is something that may come to pass in the future that may also influence the result of this spread. The seventh card, which is the Devil, Belladonna, is the perspective. This one I always find to be a little bit ambiguous. Sometimes it can represent like you in a way, like you in the reading. Sorry, now I'm thinking about how this, I'm thinking about what this spread actually means.
Well, it can also be like temptation.
Yeah. Oh no, no.
Right?
Well, no. There's some accuracy that's making. Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to talk about it. Yeah.
Let's do public life therapy. Just kidding.
It is actually weird that both. It doesn't matter. We're not going to go there. So yeah, it can be your perspective on the matter, but it may also represent you in some ways. The eighth card is environmental factors. These can be like people that you're talking to that have some sort of influence on the matter. If you're talking about career, this can be family pressure. This could be someone you work with that is either causing you problems, or it's not a negative card, but yeah, it's sort of like the environment you're in.
Sorry, loudest notification of all time.
That is totally fine. And then the ninth card, which so this is the Knight of Coins. I love this card. Here, wait, there we go. It's a dragon hairpin. Anyway, this card is Hopes and Fears, and this is another one that I usually read like front and back, divinatorium reverse meanings for, which again this is interesting in this reading. This is the Death card, which we will go into in more detail in other videos, but yeah, this can be like either what you hope the result is, it can be what you worry the result might be. It could also be like what's getting in the way of you achieving the number 3 card, or it can be what you worry is going to come and happen with that. And then the 10th card is the outcome, potential result of that reading, which in this case is the Hermit, which is painfully accurate.
But you kind of need to, like, you don't want to like jump to that card and like
no
draw that conclusion, right?
No, and that's a good point. So like after when you're doing a reading, I go card by card. Usually because this is my deck, I will sort of do an overview. I'll get like a sense of where it's kind of going, how it started, like what the foundations are. But when you're doing a reading, I would say, if you're reading from the booklet, I would go card by card. So if I were reading this, I would flip to the Two of Swords, and I would say, I usually have, here we go. So I would usually have like this page open and then flip to the meanings. And I would say that, card number one is the present position. This card represents the atmosphere surrounding the question. And then I would read the divinatory, at least, of the Two of Swords, which is equilibrium of one's inner and outer self, but with a lack of direction, weaknesses and strengths in equal measure. Now, if it were in a different position, I might read a little bit from the reverse, especially if it's one of the positions that have some warnings in it. And then I would move on to the second card, immediate influences, and I would flip to the Nine of Wands, which I did. And I would say, this card represents the forces at work regarding the outcome of a question. It may be read both right side up and reverse. And then I would read, strength and reserve, biding one's time ensures success. And on the flip side, obstacles are in the way, weakness and ill health. And then I would take a moment to say, like, does this spark something in you? Like, based on the question that you've asked, does this card mean something? Are you worried about like what might these obstacles be? And if I were reading for myself as well, I would say, I mean, I know I personally know what those obstacles are. But I would be thinking about those obstacles as I move on to the next card. Because for me, a reading is a way to tell a story. And none of these cards in individual are so important without like the larger tapestry of the reading. So it's important to kind of be building as you go. Like, do you want me to keep going through?
I think that's helpful.
Okay, all right, we'll keep going. So 3 is Destiny, the Queen of Swords.
I mean, you don't have to do all of them.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
Okay, well, so let's say I had asked like what, let's say, am I on the right path right now in terms of work? Well,
maybe you're hesitating whether or not to take a promotion.
Yeah.
Where you have to move somewhere.
Well, this is like, yeah. Is this gonna get too personal? No. So for the destiny of this card of the Queen of Swords, you could read the reverse first and say, so it's not someone, no, a cutting, unsympathetic person, someone who has suffered injuries in past relationships and no longer suffers fools gladly. So that could be, in this case, if I were talking about relationships, potentially if I were not careful, I could become somebody who is unsympathetic. And if I were walking away from this reading, I might be like, what steps do I take to avoid being unsympathetic? Because the divinatory is someone who is strong, stern, always on their guard. They're ruthless in pursuit of their goals. They're warm, but they may be a bit aloof. I mean, that's not necessarily a better person to be necessarily. Arguably, the reverse is a better, maybe. But if I were reading into that and I felt like, oh no, I didn't want to be somebody who is unsympathetic, I would be keeping that in my mind as I'm going through the reading and wondering like what the cards are telling me to potentially avoid that as an outcome. Do you want me to keep going though?
Yeah, we're getting some good feedback. I think people are finding it helpful.
Okay.
I don't think you need to do all of them.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I do think maybe it would be helpful to do a read with a very specific question of like,
Okay.
I don't know.
Now I'm nervous.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think either one of us wants to do it because we're I don't know, it's the internet. I'm not the most public person, but
I mean, I guess I could.
I think we should do something like, I'm trying to think. Who's a celebrity who we know a lot about? Or author or artist?
I'll do me. I think that's
don't
fine.
do it.
I mean, if we can do this as though this were a real reading for me.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. No,
okay. I don't know.
It's the internet.
I'm seeing things.
Things live forever. I know you're just looking at yourself, but there's millions of
people. Yeah, totally. We'll do it for Bob, a person that doesn't exist.
Why don't we do it for Nami?
Okay, we're gonna
for Nami. Let's say.
You want me to do a new?
Yeah, let's do a new
reading.
We're
gonna do a new reading.
I'm gonna show everyone Nami.
Sweet Nami.
Very sweet right now.
Oh, Nami.
Let's do a reading for Nami.
Okay.
Nami. Let's see.
Do you think Nami is good with money?
Oh. Well, she's not the most like food aggressive dog. So, she does hoard. Yes, I would say she's good with money. She likes to have bones and then
so we're gonna
have other people.
We'll choose she's
definitely a page.
Young. Yeah, we'll do a page of points.
Yeah. So that'll be her significator. Is that the daisies?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that's perfect for her. I describe Nami's personality as like legally blonde.
Oh.
Like she's very ditzy and funny, but is also really smart sometimes. But she's also scaredy pants.
Yeah, she's a little scaredy.
Yeah. So maybe that can be her thing, is what can she do to overcome?
I should be doing this more here.
Some of her fears about strangers.
Did I skip this card? Oh, it was right there. Okay, so Nami is going to be the page of there. She's so cute.
This is my shameless way to get my dog.
Nami doesn't have an Instagram account, so it's not like you're fucking.
Yeah. Now everyone's gonna think I'm the worst dog parent ever. No. How can you have a dog that cute and not have a separate Instagram account? You must be a monster.
So I forgot to mention this. So I usually ask the person to cut the deck 3 times, and then the person who's doing the reading can pick one of the 3.
Which one's it gonna be?
Which one? I'm gonna say this.
I'm gonna say that one.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that
one. She's least afraid.
The one is in distress. Okay, so we would do. Oh wow, the tower right out the gate.
Gosh. Wow.
And that's fine.
That's okay. Hey, you know what? She's a rescue dog, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe she's got some towers in her past. We do not have any towers now, though.
She's so sweet. Okay. So if we were doing a reading for Nami.
So Nami's very scared of strangers, people. So maybe that's the question that we're focusing on.
Okay. Like
how can she get over her fear? Is that a good question?
I would ask it more broadly. Like I want to know about
her fear.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say why not. So we would, I guess, talk about the tower, which
is the one card that you really don't want to get.
No, because I think I don't think there's any card in tarot that is, like a disaster, but So this is a humbling event or experience, a catastrophe, or a broken cycle. So, I mean, we're all sort of living in the tower
She's a
as a
pandemic
situation.
dog.
She is a
She was
pandemic
born
dog,
in
yeah.
March of last year.
Yeah, so that could be, we're still sort of in it. So that could be like what, like her present position is kind of dealing with the repercussions of that. So then I would do the Empress for the other one.
So what position card is that again?
So this is immediate influences, which
Okay.
you read both. Where did you go, the Empress? There we go. I don't know how this would apply to a dog, but it's a card
I'm
of
the Empress.
oh yeah, maybe. Okay. It's a card of creativity, of like overflowing free creativity, intellectual wealth, material wealth. The reverse is loss, detachment, and instability.
I think this applies to her.
Yeah,
she's like,
this is immediate influences, and
yeah,
like, that is, you are her most immediate influence.
I am definitely.
Yeah, I could see that representing you in this case.
Yeah.
The third card, the Destiny card, is Temperance.
I have also chosen the Empress as my significator in the past.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I used to pick the Hermit, and then I realized I'm not like wise enough to. So for Temperance, in this case, because it's reversed, you would read vulnerability, a breach in one's defenses. But it could be, I'm trying to see how many. Some of the theory is that if more than half of the cards are in reverse, you would just read the divinatory, which is adaptability, purification, self-control, and balance leads to success. So I think in terms of what we're asking, that is the more accurate reading. Like the Destiny is more about like finding a balance, inner and outer, of, like in a pandemic, finding the balance of, she's been mostly home.
Yeah.
She hasn't been socialized as much. And
I also think it's scary to meet people in masks. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sort of talking about the breach in one's defenses.
Yeah.
I breached her defenses
that
with
too.
my love.
Also, I didn't shuffle these super well, so we're just going with it. Okay, so the distant past is Judgment in reverse. Yeah, I think the divinatory would make more sense in this. New possibilities and a change just over the horizon. Like this could be
her adoption.
Yeah, like her adoption. Yeah. Like something that signals that sort of change in circumstance. The recent past is the, I mean, you know what? This is pretty good, actually. We'll get there. I'm jumping ahead. I know too much. So the recent past is the Eight of Swords. Yes. Which represents frozen in place, restricted, unable to leave a bad situation because of fear.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
that was literally, but that's also how she gets scared, is she will freeze.
Yeah.
She will actually just like put her feet down and like,
yeah. And also, kind of being stuck here a little bit, like most of us are.
Yes.
Stuck in. And then the future is the moon. It's right there. So I will read the full description and then explain why I will take one part of it away. So the divinatory reading is illumination, intuition, dreams, changing tides, imagination and creative powers. To me, what is applicable within that larger reading is the changing tides. Like the sea change that would come from being able to socialize more. You usually bring her to the studio, so it's not like she would be on her own, but like a change of scenery, getting into that, maybe that leads to overcoming it. There are a lot of some like only majors. Just realized.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
She's a dog with very powerful forces at work.
Yes, exactly. So the seventh card is the Emperor. Sunshine the Conqueror. So this is the perspective. Yeah, I don't know how this would apply to Nami in particular.
Read it. I know.
Dominion, a power being exerted, an organizer, a leader, the positive results of hard work. So that could be, you guys have been like coming through. It could be,
because I have another dog, Lulu, who's on camera right now taking a beautiful nap, and she's very much attached to her, and like she gets her sense of safety from her.
Yeah, it could be that. In some ways, I think it could be that. It could also be the like the hard work that you are putting into, getting through it. The eighth card is the Hanged Man, which is environmental factors.
So when you say environmental factors, is that just like literally like her physical space right now?
It usually refers to things that are like kind of out of your control, that exert some influence on the situation. So like without looking at the card, that could be the pandemic. It could be you in this case. It could be like her home life in general. It could be strangers. But okay, so this is interesting. A retreat inside oneself, disillusionment, a shallow understanding of the self. But the divinatory is a moment to think and reflect, suspension, letting go of the things keeping one weighed down. So if we were reading mostly the divinatory, the environmental factors might be that pause to sort of like catch your breath. And
but she's getting better about that, where she'll have like a moment of pause, and then sometimes she chooses to
I saw her like warm up a little bit. So then the ninth card, Hopes and Fears, the Chariot, which you read both. You can read, you don't have to, but yes, that's the Chariot. Oh, this is good. In a weird
car.
This is
I mean, it's orange.
Oh no. Well, no. So this represents triumph, willpower, success, taking what one has learned and achieving greatness, or a Pyrrhic victory, success at the cost of integrity, or an overbearing person. So in this case, it could be like what you hope is to overcome it. And what you fear is that it's not like really fixed and you just get used to it. The kind of Pyrrhic victory of it. And then the last card is Star. Jasmine. So the divinatory is transcendence, dreams, meditation, intuition, spiritual growth.
I mean,
And I think, yeah, I think that represents like a certain need for her to like adjust to like, you know, her internal need to adjust and overcome that.
Mm.
Even though she's so cute. Now, there is one thing I've read, and I do this occasionally, where if the 10th card is very ambiguous, what you can do is you clear out all of the cards, including the significator. And what you would do is add those back into the deck and reshuffle, and then you read the 10th card as the new significator and ask for clarification.
Mm.
You know, if we were like, what would that take to overcome, or just wanted to know more about that journey, you know, we can ask more questions.
Well, I think that's all the questions Nami has today. It was a highly
Are you
insightful.
sure, Nami?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so good. Good
you're
girl.
so cute.
So good.
She's like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that spiritual growth yet.
I don't know.
You know, she's so cute. We were
Yeah.
playing with toys earlier, so.
Thank
but
you. I
yes.
think that was hopefully super insightful to have an example, even if it's maybe a little silly to have a dog as a read.
It's
but
just as an example.
it's
you
just as
know.
an example, yeah. Do you want to show us like what a 3-card read would
Yeah,
be?
definitely. So 3-card spreads are usually past, present, and future. So if you wanted to ask, maybe ask is the wrong way to say it, but if you wanted to know more about career, I don't know, the fact that I keep saying career is
Normal person.
telling enough.
Well, I think you're saying career because you're like, I don't want to.
It's like general. Well, if you were like what do I want to do a 3-card spread for relationships, you would do like past, present, and future, and then read you know, what does the star say about the foundations you've had. You know, this is not a reading for me, I can tell you that. You know, that would say like, you know, in the past you've had sort of a spiritual growth, and how does that influence the reverse of strength? Probably not great. But and then, you know, what you're looking forward in the future. So this could be, you know, about relationships. This could be the person that you become in relationships. It could be the person that
now.
you're, yeah, it could be like a struggle that you have in the future, or it could be the person that you're trying to like find in a relationship, that the King of Swords represents in some way. Yeah, that's how I would do a 3-card spread. And you can also do a modified version of the 10-card spread, which is the Celtic cross, where you would do the
Before you
same.
start that, I'm going to encourage anyone to
Oh.
drop any questions in the chat. 'cause I
Oh,
think we're
yes,
gonna wrap up
please. Yeah.
fairly soon. So if you have any last questions, drop them in there. But
Yes,
go
so
for the modified.
okay,
cross.
yes, send us questions. So for the Celtic cross, you would do the same basic spread. I don't think it's usually with a significator, but you would just do this. So the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th cards sort of give you like a bit more detail in a 10-card spread. But this gives you like the gist. You would be reading this as sort of the culmination of like what you're looking for in a reading. Which is a pretty good one to have.
Mhm.
Plus, I just like that card. But that's not pertinent. That's personal. But yeah, are there any questions that we should answer?
I think we got to give people a little time.
Oh,
because of
sure.
Terrible lag.
Oh, yeah, that does make sense.
I guess we'll just just give you more dog show while
I'll
let me see if we missed it. But I think we went over through everything that we wanted to talk about here.
Do you want me to talk about what else comes with the deck and more?
Sure, if you want to.
Um,
More QVC.
more QVC. Well, these come with all of the herbalist decks. So you get the
We have to do the voice now in every deck.
now in every single deck. Well, thanks to our Kickstarter backers, these are in every single deck. So you would get the show. Oh, I'll do the full. Oh yes. The inside mail is the worst kind of enabler, and by that I mean the best. Where she was like, "What if we printed on the inside?" And I was like, "Surely you're joking." And she was like, "No, I would never joke about that."
I just love foil a little too much.
All the foil. Okay, so then otherwise in every deck you would get these 6 postcards, which you can mail. They have so you can write on them with like a nice marker, put a stamp on. I've seen mostly people have hung them, which is very sweet. These were like voted on for these designs.
Ooh, we got a great question from Lydia. However, we're not allowed to answer it. Lydia's question was, what are your favorite cards, and I think she's asking what the meaning are for the art that you created. So there's definitely a ton of meaning to all this.
Yes, art. Yeah, that is the subject of the next.
So we're going to be doing a talk on, I have it, September, I'm going to say 21st off the top of my head, but
my phone is being used, so I
yes, I'm pretty sure it's September 21st, I think at 3 p.m. So we're going to do an afternoon talk, but we'll announce it if you follow at Beehive Books on Instagram or at Kevin J. Stanton on Instagram
be sure
Twitter.
To talk about it.
We will announce it. And so we're going to do a whole other talk that's going to be a real Q&A about the process of making the book and going into all the different cards. Well, maybe not all of them, but because that would take a long time.
I'll also have my notebook and everything so I can share sketches, and in some ways some of the cards that changed. One of them I changed right before I painted it.
Oh, here we go. Beehive Books. My wonderful colleague Elaine posted September 21st at 3 p.m.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, we've gotten so many questions. Okay,
oh,
wait.
Okay. Put this aside. I'm leave these in.
Oh, Elizabeth asked, do you think there's always something relevant in a reading, or do they sometimes just miss the mark?
That's a good question. I do think that there's usually something relevant. I do think you'll also come across cards that they don't feel particularly relevant, and that's okay too. I think you can either do that second reading using the 10th card as the significator and try and get more clarification, or it could be just a matter of like doing it another day if it's a question that you want to ask. I usually space out readings for myself a little bit so that I don't get obsessive about
especially if you're asking the same questions.
Yeah, there was a time that I was like, well, I really want to know something, and I had to force myself not to.
Yeah, well, usually when that happens is because you really want a specific answer,
yes.
and you may not be getting it.
The cards were like, no, it is this, and I was like, yeah, but what if it weren't?
What if I draw it again?
What if I just kept? But yeah, I think the nice way about reading is it is about what you put, the meaning that you put on the cards. So, again, there are going to be cards that don't necessarily always line up, but
I also think, like, I don't know, personally, like in the 10 cards is a lot, like,
yeah.
And there tends to be like some standout cards that you really connect to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the
and
most
sometimes
important.
sometimes it's not, but again, it's about like what it's making you think. Like if I were to say there's been an obstacle in your past, a stumbling block, you would probably like your mind would go to like what is that and does that have bearing on the reading? So
I guess the last question I would ask, unless anyone has any other ones, is because we kind of mainly focused on reading for yourself, but when you're reading for somebody else, a friend, or even if you're using the deck professionally, how do you feel about that? How do you recommend approaching that?
I would say kind of in the same way. The only difference is we'd have somebody, different readers do this differently. Some people don't want anybody else touching their deck, the deck they read with. I tend to do the shuffling myself, and then cut the deck, and then I would just like have it as a discussion, like a way to tell a story with another person. I approach it very conversationally. I think like when we've done a reading, I've asked, this I'm trying to think of like an obstacle.
If you drew like
well, let's say like the star, since we just talked about that, it would be like does the idea of like spiritual growth, like do you think you've done growing recently, and like ask those questions. I think there's sort of a perception that people just can know, and for me it's more about like the storytelling aspect, so like talking to the person that you're reading and asking questions and sort of guiding a little bit because you are doing the reading, but conversational I think is the better way to like, don't feel afraid to ask questions.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe don't tell people you're gonna die.
None of the cards say that.
That's not what they mean.
None of them are like that.
Okay, we have one last great question from Elizabeth, and then I think we're going to call it. Elizabeth says, I currently don't know too many people who use tarot. As a beginner, is it good to seek out others who can help me learn, or can I be more self-taught? Or maybe you have any resources for where to reach out to others.
That's a good question. I am largely self-taught. There's a lot of books you can look at. Eden Gray has a really good book from the 60s, I think, on reading tarot. She goes into like a lot of the process of it. But I think it's almost more important to like find your own way. There are quote unquote rules to tarot, but there's also, if you would be giving readings to friends, I think you would be, I don't think your friends are going into it and being like, no, that's not the way, I've had it read before. It's more about like, if you're reading with Botanica, for example, or you're reading with another deck, how have you practiced that? How many times have you read it? Have you familiarized yourself with those cards? And like how are you responding to the way that you read? I think it's important. I mean, in a lot of ways, I wrote the booklet based on my experiences with the deck that I used to read, because it made more sense to me to read Hopes and Fears upside down and right side up. I don't think there's like a specific way. I think you can do it on your own as well. But YouTube has a ton of like tarot channels. There are a ton of Instagram accounts that you can follow. And I think it would just keep in mind like what you want to get out of it is more important than like following someone's very specific guides.
Also, if you backed our project on Kickstarter, I think we had a really great community of backers. So
that's
feel
true.
free to comment on on the project. You can still comment on there and ask people to connect with people and ask for recommendations.
It was a pretty active group. I mean, I've been reading with the same deck prior to Botanica for like 15 years almost. So the relationship I formed with that deck informed Botanica, but I don't know if it's the right quote unquote way to do it.
We have one last question. I'm just sneaking in under the wire from Ashenka. How have you explained tarot reading to people who don't believe in that sort of thing?
Oh,
I've gotten the eye roll from people before when I've tried to talk about it seriously.
okay. I mean, for me, personally, I don't, I use it as a meditation tool. And that's why when I'm doing readings, I treat it very conversationally. If I were explaining it to someone, I would describe it as a meditation tool, as like, for the daily draw of, what's a good, if I were picking the Mandrake, the Page of Swords as a daily draw, it represents an imposter, and I'm not saying, like, personally, I don't believe that this is telling me I will be meeting someone that day who is an imposter. However, my brain is going to associate, like, is there someone in my life that I either worry is being duplicitous, or does it represent my own imposter syndrome? That I think is the more important aspect to it. And so if I were describing it to someone, I would say, like, it's more of, it's not a Rorschach test, but it is like,
I think it's a
like
way
a
to like
mental,
open up conversation.
yeah, they're like
both
prompts.
internal and I think with other people as well, it can like guide or focus a discussion on a specific aspect that somebody
think
is maybe
so.
struggling with. And
Yeah, I mean, we had that when I did the
definitely
reading
had
last
that, yeah.
time. So yeah, I would describe it as like a series of prompts. If you're talking to somebody like that, and that's what I personally believe. But yeah,
Yeah.
that.
I think that's it. Thank you all for
We did it.
joining us. I would high five you, but my dog spent
I don't know why I'm
5 minutes
high-fiving
licking
the
my
screen.
hands, so we can do this one. Weird high five.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Awkward end to a.
Thank you for dealing with our technical
Yes.
difficulties, which we will
smooth out by next time. It's going to be like an iron sheet.
Yep. Yep, that's exactly what it's gonna be like. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, or we can also add them to our next, like maybe like a follow-up. But yeah.
So join us on the 21st. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And and if you haven't yet gotten yourself a copy of Botanica, you can do that through our website, beehivebooks.com, or through your local shop, I think. Or you can still get some of our beautiful.
This is the herbalist deck that comes with all of and then there's also.
Well, we don't have that edition left.
Okay, no, never mind.
We have.
Ignore.
We have. Wait. Oh my gosh, so organized. Here we go.
The other version is the Dark Alchemist,
which comes
in
a beautiful matte tin,
which also comes with the. Oh, I'm wearing it.
It also comes with a cloth and these 2 pins.
Oh yeah.
You want to show this? Closing the box because it's actually empty right now, but it comes with all this stuff.
Dandelion for the Fool and Eglantine for the Knight of Cups, which is my significator.
All right. Thank you, everyone.